Hare Krishna. Omagyanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave. So here we are discussing about Prithu Maharaj. So we have to send Prithu Maharaj back to Godhead before we go further. And we were discussing that how to perform the actions without getting entangled. For that, we need to love the action which we are doing. Then only it is possible. So here we are saying Prithu Maharaj, who was very opulent due to the prosperity of his entire empire, remained at home as a householder since he was never inclined to utilize his opulence for sense gratification or the gratification of senses. He remained unattached, exactly like the sun, which is unaffected in all circumstances. So this is when we are getting that higher taste, it is possible. Otherwise, not possible. Like we were discussing yesterday in one session that there was a great devotee in Vrindavan. He was having 7 children, and when we was asked how many children you have, he said, "I have one and a half." Because out of seven, one was a great devotee, and other was serving the cows. So he considered only person who is a devotee as a son, and another son who is serving the cows as half, and remaining all he didn't count. And one time, what happened? His son, one who was taking care of the cows, he dies. And when he was given this information that your son died, he fainted. So everybody was surprised. He said, "This person is supposed to be very detached, and just by hearing the news of his son's death, he is fainting." No, it looks very extreme attachment. Then there was another great devotee there who understood what exactly happened. So he goes to him. He was unconscious. He's lying. He says, "Don't worry, you will not get any sutak. A contamination period will be there. When your family members dies, very close relatives, you cannot go to temple for some 13 days or like that, based on the caste." He says that no, you will not get that effect. So don't worry. Immediately he heard, he got up because his worry is, oh, if my son died and I'll be in contaminated period, I'll not be able to take the darshan of the deities. You're so much attached to Srinathji. That is how much intense they are in their practice, how much they are so much in love with the Lord. So one day, Man Singh comes to him and he says that, uh, he says that I want to give. Actually, when he came, the Lord was sitting on his lap. So when he came, then the Lord disappeared, and the Man Singh asked, "You want something?" He was so poor. Actually, it was explained that for him there was no mirror also in the house. They need a what they used to. He used to look in the water and apply tilak. That much poor they was. He was having so many children, and he was having very small piece of land, and hardly they have something to eat. And Man Singh comes, who is the commander in chief of Akbar, very rich person. He made so many temples in Vrindavan and all. He asks, "Do you need something?" He says, "No, I don't need anything." "No, no, I think you should have. I'll give you some money." He says, "No, I'm a Kshatriya. I cannot take anything from others." Means he was born Kshatriya actually. Then he says, "Okay, I'll give you some land." He said, "No, I have sufficient." And then he tried to persuade, but he didn't take anything. And then Mansingh leaves. Then Lord again comes, sits in the lap. And he says, "Arey, he came and asked you why you did not take anything." He says, "No, I didn't want anything." "No, you are there, no." Then Lord said, "I only sent him." to give you something. So that was my arrangement. Then he asked the Lord, okay, if it is your arrangement that he comes, then once he gives me and I takes, then will you come again to me? He says, no, my work is done, so I will leave. So then the devotee says, that's why I didn't want anything. Because if I take anything from others, then you will leave me. You will feel that I have so much other shelters. But now I don't have any shelter, so you'll always be with me. That is how we should feel. That if I am already taking shelter, I have my good apartment, well furnished apartment, my husband, wife, children, bank balance. They're all our shelters, which are wrong shelters. That's why Lord is not able to come and sit with us. He says, you already have some things. When we say, my dear Lord, I don't have anything, what I have, I don't have anything. Then Lord says, okay, then I am there. Like my friend, he called me to come to his place for Radhashtami. It is in Jharkhand. I said, okay, I'll come. He said, yesterday he was calling, day before yesterday. I said, okay, I'll come. Then he said, you are coming by walk or how you are coming? I said, if I have to come by walk, I have to start today. He said, no, you should start immediately. And then he told that you continue walking, Krishna will provide you food and shelter. And that is true also. I said, yes, bro, that is true. I understand that Lord takes care. Only thing is we should say that I don't have anything. Then Lord says, okay, if you don't have anything, then I am there. Unfortunately, we have so many other things, and even when we are not able to say to Lord, I don't have anybody other than you. Where can I go? Lord says, oh, don't worry, I'm there. So that's how the great personalities they lived, and they are leaving their house and all. They're just waiting. It's a nice opportunity to be completely dependent on Lord, and that is actually a great feeling of pleasure when we depend on Lord and Lord provides everything. You experience so much love and care of the Lord. Now also we see in our life sometimes Lord reciprocates. We feel so happy, oh, this is the Lord's arrangement. Means when we experience that shelter of Lord and love of Lord, it gives it's something different, not like material thing. That is what we should aspire. That I don't want any other shelters. And that here we see all the great personalities. Like Bhishmadev, he was lying on a bed of arrows. The arrows are they are pierced through and through his body. Such a excruciating pain. Every part of his body is pierced. No blood is remaining in him. And then he's around him all the corpse. So many dead bodies are there around. They are stinking smell, and so many wild animals are coming around to eat the dead bodies, some scavengers and all. And such a nasty place. It's a very horrible place, and there are some hobgoblins and ghosts, and everybody was there. And Vishnu is lying there and chanting the name of Lord. He is saying, my dear Lord, I want you to be there when I am leaving the body. Vishnudev could have said, why to stay in such a nasty place? Just get out of it, leave my body. But Vishnudev was just meditating on the Lord. He wanted Lord to come. And he continuously meditated on the Lord, and Lord reciprocated. Not only Krishna coming, he is sending all the great sages and is glorifying Bhishmadev eternally like that. So the point is, we have to have that detachment. This is then we can see the Lord's hand. Otherwise, we are attached to our own things. I have my own big palatial buildings. That's why Kunti Maharaj said, Namo Akinchana Vittaya Nivritta Gunavittaya Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kaivalya Pataya Namaha. So Akinchana Vittaya. So these things is at least not that we should not have. Having is not problem. The mind state of mind not to be attached to it, not to be identified. So that is where the difference comes. I want to be recognized as not very poor person. I am also well off. That type of I have good things. I have to show in the society that I have a good house, good wife, good children, good husband. I want to show in the society. Then Lord says, okay, continue showing. Uh, but we say, no, my Lord, I don't want to show off to these people in this world. These are all fallible soldiers. And then Lord says, well, then I am there. So it is our choice. We have to make a choice in that way. Slowly, slowly, that detachment should appear in the heart. At least we should aspire for it. That and should not identify with all these things. These are not correct identifications. That's what next verse is that uh, एवम् आध्यात्म योगेन कर्माण्य अनु समाचरन् पुत्रान् उत्पादयान् आसा पञ्चार्चस् आत्मसम्मतान्. Being situated in the liberated position of devotional service, Pitu Maharaj not only performed all fruitive activities but also begot 5 sons by his wife Archi. Indeed, all his sons were begotten according to his own desires. He desired that it should happen like this, and it happened. And Prabhupada writes that, and Prabhupada followed it. That's why he's able to tell that how family life and how a person should get out of it. As a householder, Prithu Maharaj had 5 sons by his wife Archi, and all these sons were begotten as he desired them. They were not born whimsically or by accident. So this is nowadays people are born accidentally. On a Bhakti Kasmaras says very grossly. He says on Saturday, on a bottle of wine on Saturday night, with a bottle of wine on Saturday night, the children are born. And how one can beget children according to one's desire is practically unknown in the present age. In this regard, the secret of success depends on the parents' acceptance of various purificatory methods known as sanskaras. The first sanskara, the Garbhadana sanskara, child begetting sanskara, is compulsory, especially for the higher castes, the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, sex life which is not against religious principle is Krishna himself, and according to religious principles, when one want to beget a child, he must perform the Garbhadana Sanskara before having sex. The mental state of the father and mother before sex will certainly affect the mentality of the child as he to be begotten. A child who is begotten out of lust may not turn out as the parents desire. So this is presently the state, and because of which what happens is everybody they give so much trouble to the parents. Why they are born? Because they are born only like that. They're sometimes they are unwanted also. The mother don't want the child, but the child came. So from the beginning only our consciousness is wrong. And then what happens? The child, he when he goes up, he feels unwanted. He don't experience any love, and he will do the same thing to the parents. When they become old, then he says, no, we don't want you. They will create so much trouble to the society also. And anyway, that is a big topic. But here, Prabhupada is writing the mental state of father and mother before sex will certainly affect the mentality of the child to be begotten. A child who is begotten out of lust may not turn out as the parents desire. As stated in Shastras, Yatha yoni yatha bhijam. Yatha yoni indicates the mother and yatha bhijam indicates the father. If the if the mental state of parents is prepared before they have sex, the child which they will beget will certainly reflect their mental condition. It is therefore understood by the words Atma Sammatam that both Prithu Maharaj and Chi underwent the Garbhadana purificatory process before begetting children, and thus they begot all their sons according to their desires and purified mental states. Prithu Maharaj did not beget his children out of lust, nor was he attached to his wife for sense gratification. He begat the children as a grihastha for future administration of his government all over the world. And sometimes they may be having good consciousness, but still the child may not come good. It is Krishna's arrangement. Even by the Lord only it happened like that. If you see Varahadev and Mother Earth, Bhudevi, the child is Banasur, Bhaumasur. So he is not a devotee. So Supreme Lord and Mother Lakshmi's child is not devotee. Advaita Acharya had children. They were not devotees, all of them. Asar, they became unwanted. And then even Prabhupada didn't had all devotee children. So the point is not all the time like that. Even Anga had Vena. So it is sometimes, of course, in Anga Vena, wife is having a problem. So in some cases, it may not, it is Krishna's arrangement. That also we should understand. But in some cases, it is like, it is said that Vallabhacharya's ancestor, he performed 100 sacrifices to he actually he took a commitment of vow of performing 100 sacrifices, and so that he can get a very powerful child. He could not complete 100, and then after many generations, after seventh generation, one great person, he completes the sacrifice. And then he's after that his wife becomes pregnant and he becomes Vallabhacharya. So that much hard work they did. So to get a child like so there is a question how to understand non-devotees getting devotee child. Yeah, actually that is mother's credit. It is not that is non-devotee and devotee are coming. In that case, mothers have a credit. They must be very chaste ladies, or at that time they were in a very good consciousness, and that has an effect. And I have seen also some others. They're so good. Like I know one family. All three sons are brahmacharis. Can you imagine what a quality of mother? So the credit goes to mother if the child is becoming devotee, and this is and sometimes it is Krishna's arrangement for the devotee to be kept in a situation of very hostile situation where he will come out become more and more purified. So like that also, like Prahalad is born to Hiranyakashipu. He's not a devotee. But Krishna want to deliver Hiranyakashipu. That's why Prahalad is born. So some cases is Krishna's arrangement for that particular devotee who is born there. He wanted to purify that devotee and help him come out of certain conditions. So that is the reason he made him get birth in a non-devotee family. Or another case will be the mother will be very chaste and she must be a great person. Matlab, in terms of her consciousness, she is very pure. So, or at least at the time of the child is born, that time she must be very spiritual. That's the reason it happens. So, it has a purpose. विजिताश्वधूम्रकेशं हर्यक्षं द्रविणं व्रकं सर्वेषां लोकपालानां ददार्कं पृथुं गुणा. After begetting five sons named Vijitashva, Dhumrakesha, Haryaksha, Dravina, and Vraka, Prithu Maharaj continued to rule the planet. He accepted all the qualities of deities who govern other planets. In each and every planet, there is a predominating deity. It is understood from Bhagavad Gita that in the sun there is a predominating deity named Vivashwan. Similarly, there is a predominating deity of the moon and of the various planets. Actually, the predominating deities in all the other planets are descendants from the predominating deities of the sun and the moon. On this planet Earth, There are two Kshatriya dynasties, and one comes from the predominating deity of sun, other from the moon, Surya Vamsha and Chandra Vamsha. When monarchy existed on the planet, the chief members was one of the members of Surya dynasty or Surya Vamsha, and the subordinate kings belonged to Chandra Vamsha. However, Prithumara was so powerful that he could exhibit all the qualities of the predominating deities in other planets. In modern age, people from Earth are trying to go to Moon, but they have not been able to find anyone there. What to speak of meeting the moon's predominating? The Vedic literature, however, repeatedly informs us that the moon is full of highly elevated inhabitants who are counted among the demigods. We are therefore always in doubt about what kind of moon adventure the modern scientists of this planet Earth have undertaken. Even India also they did Chandrayaan. They also went landed there. Nothing is found. Now, to be politically right, I'll not comment anything. Anything. But Prabhupada time there is no social media, no recordings and all. So it was recorded, Prabhupada spoke, but there is no social media to make it controversy. That was a good. Prabhupada came exactly when the facilities for recording video and everything was there, but there is no internet and laptop. So Prabhupada didn't come late. He didn't come far early also. If it is 200 years before, then it is problem. If it is coming after 50 years, then it is a problem. So Krishna choose exactly same time so that it is safe for all of us. Otherwise, the way Prabhupada spoke many things is a big problem now. So Prabhupada, he didn't care what he was. He wanted to tell the truth, and he was very clear about it. But like for public relationship, it's a disaster. Since Mar गोपित्या जगत्श्रेष्ठे काले स्वस्वच्युतात्मकः मनोवागृतिभिः सौम्यैर्गुणैः सम्ब्रज्ञ प्रजा. Since Maharaj Prithu was a perfect devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he wanted to protect Lord's creation by pleasing the various citizens according the various desires. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj used to please them in all respects by his words, mentality, works, and gentle behavior. So it's not that he's just gratifying the senses. He's understanding what is exactly their need and accordingly he's acting. We should not think that, okay, he's just pampering them. No, we'll see what Prabhupada says. As will be explained in the next verse, Prithamara used to please all the citizens by his extraordinary capacity to understand the mentality of others. Indeed, his dealings were so perfect that every one of the citizens were very much satisfied and lived in complete peace. So this is a very important point actually. What is the greatest challenge in pleasing other person is to understand him, which is where all the trouble comes. What is the main problem? Husband and wife is they complain that my partner don't understand me. So here, Prithu Maharaj was very good in it. So used to please all kinds of extraordinary capacity to understand. what what is the greatest need for all of us is that the other person should somebody should understand me. That gives so much satisfaction to the heart. Just if person knows who am I, they are not judgmental, they're accepting what I am, not judging me. That pleases actually. In our life we want somebody like that who understands us what we are without any judge. Oh, that is the reason he was able to please them. Not sometimes we don't need many things. We want a person to understand us the way we are. So here the word Achyutatmakaha is significant in this verse. Maharaj Prithu used to rule this earth as a as a representative of Supreme Lord. He knew that he was representative of the Lord and that the Lord's creation must be protected intelligently. Atheists cannot understand the purpose behind creation, although this material world is condemned when it is compared to the spiritual world. There is still some purpose behind it. So we should also know, because Professor atheists cannot understand the purpose behind creation. Because although the material world is condemned place only, when it's compared to spiritual, there is still some purpose. This is very important. So we there is something that is arranged. It is not happening by random chance and other things. There is proper plan behind what is created. So here, proper modern scientists, philosophers cannot understand the purpose, nor do they believe in the existence of creator. They try to establish everything by their so-called scientific research, but they do not center anything around the supreme creator. A devotee, however, can understand the purpose of creation, which is to give facilities to the individual living entities who want to lord it over material nature. So, this is the main purpose of creation. The ruler of this planet should therefore know, the ruler of this planet therefore know that all the inhabitants, especially human beings, have come to this material world for sense enjoyment. It is that it is therefore the duty of ruler to satisfy them in their sense enjoyment as well as to elevate them to Krishna conscious, so that they all can ultimately return home back to God. So it is, sense gratification is also needed, but it should be regulated. That is the main point. Then only we'll be able to take sense Krishna consciousness. Yuktahara viharasya yukta chestasya swapnasu yukta swapnavabodhasya yoga bhavati dukkha. So when we are understanding things in this way, then it will work. So they try to establish everything. And then how can this be accomplished? There are many examples like, sorry, with this idea in mind, the king or government head should rule the world. In this way, everyone will be satisfied. How can this be accomplished? There are many examples like Prithu Maharaj, and the history of this of his regency on his planet is elaborately described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Even if this fallen age, if the ruler, government, presidents take charge of Prithumara's example, they will certainly be a region of peace and prosperity throughout the world. So this is very less likely that people will take up and will have peace. We just have to get out of this world. There is no option for us. राज्यत् अधान्नामध्येयं सोमराज्या इवापरः सूर्यवद् विसृजन् गृह्णन् प्रतपन्श्च भवो वसु. Maharaj Prithu became as celebrated as king of Somaraja, the king of moon. He was also powerful and executing just all like the sun god. So distributes heat and light at the same time, exist all the planets' water, extracts all the planets. So in this verse, Marasputi is compared to king of the moon and sun. The king of moon and the king of sun serves an example of how the Lord desires the universe to be ruled. This is a very nice point. The king of moon and the king of sun serves an example how Lord. The sun distributes so how Lord wants. You should rule like sun also and moon also. What the sun does, distributes heat and light, at the same time extracts water from all planets. The moon is very pleasing at night, and when one becomes fatigued after a day's labor in the sun, one can enjoy the moonshine. So, like the sun god Pruthumara distributed heat and gave protection to his kingdom. For without heat and light, no one can exist. Similarly, Prithu extracted taxes and gave such strong orders to the citizens and the government that no one had the power to disobey. The other hand, he pleased everyone just like the moon. So with like sun, he's giving protection. Like moon, he is giving some soothing effect. So both sun and so this is that's why Prithu Maharaj's Palana Shakti is come very nicely ruled. All the rulers should take instructions from this chapter. दूरदर्शेस्तेजस्वाग्री महेन्द्रय इव दुर्जया तितिक्षया दरित्रीवा दौ इवां भासितो नृणाम्. So Maharaj Prithu was so powerful and strong and powerful that no one could disobey his orders, and more than one could more than one could conquer fire itself. He was so strong that he was compared to Indra, the king of heaven, whose power is unsurpassable. On the other hand, Maharaj Prithu was also so talented as the earth and in fulfilling various desires of human society. He was like heaven itself. So both the things he is doing. And it is the duty of the king to give protection to all the citizens and to fulfill their desires. At the same time, citizens must obey the laws of the state. Maharaj Prithu maintained all the standards of good governance, and he was so invincible that no one can disobey his orders any more than a person could stop heat and light emanating from the fire. So Prithu Maharaj here he knows what he is doing properly. So in the age, modern scientists have been experimenting with nuclear weapons. And in a former age, they used to release Brahmastras. But all these Brahmastras and nuclear weapons are insignificant compared to the thunderbolt in King's Indra's heaven. So when Indra releases a thunderbolt, all the biggest hills and mountain creeks, on the other hand, Maharaj Prithu was as tolerant as the earth itself, and he fulfilled all the desires of citizens. As a as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Prajanyam Anna Sambhavat. So he is trying to present it in a logical way. We'll take next one. Just as a rainfall satisfies everyone's desire, Maharaj Prithu used to satisfy everyone. He was like a sea that no one could understand its depth. He was like Meru, the hill of the king of hills, in the fixity of his purpose. So he's grave and deep and is fixed like mountain and ocean. So all this nice comparison is given about Prithu Maharaj. He says that Maharaj Prithu used to distribute his mercy to suffering humanity, and it was like rainfall after excessive heat. So kings they know that how things will come in return. He did not create any factories or any employment facilities. Of course, it is said that he engaged everyone according to their nature. That means he provided, but he didn't create any modern research centers because that is not needed. People need to become Krishna conscious, then everything will be happy. Otherwise, no matter how much government provides all the facilities, good roads, and good drainage, water facilities, electricity, it won't work only because there are many countries, very advanced countries, sophisticated and considered as very great. They have all the facilities, and that means they should be the most happiest people. But it don't happen like that. They're quite miserable. They all take depression tablets and all because happiness is not in how much. So here Prithu Maharaj is giving, but he's also giving them Krishna consciousness because like one Russian big politician. he made a statement. Of course, it slipped from his. He says that, "Arey, we did so much, but still things remain as it is." This is a very important understanding. Like, we try to change something, but things remain as it is in this material world in the terms of pain. So no matter, like in India, government gives so many subsidies and with health and with for poor people with their money and other types of shelters. So other type of welfare activities they do, but still the citizens are not. Everybody is happy because they are getting their food. Now they want more. There you get very less cost. You get rice to eat. They give some other items also, and then what they want? They want more. So after that, next election, somebody comes and asks for vote. We say we'll give more to you. Then they say okay, free travel in the public transport, and then you have other facilities. We'll provide you some money for your crop for cultivation. They say fine, and the proper time comes uh, uh, for elections and all. These people they vote to somebody else. Yeah, there is cheap alcohol. They provide all these things, and still people are not satisfied. It's not possible only. Yeah, alcohol in government shop. What all things they provide? It's we cannot. They were giving cycles. There were some governments were giving laptops. They were giving television sets. Of course, it all started from when politician. She was a film actress, and then she became a politician, and she started all these freebies, and everybody started following her all over this day. No matter how much you give, people are not satisfied. They want more. How long you give? So why? They are not Krishna conscious, na. No matter what you go, you cannot satisfy them. You can only satisfy people when they become Krishna conscious. Even for us also, we have all facilities. We all have some place to stay. We have food to eat for 3 times. We have some facilities. Still, we feel oh something is lacking. What is lacking is Krishna consciousness. Because if that is not there, we always create. Yeah, दिल मांगे more. Actually, दिल को कृष्ण चाहिए. So इश्क ने हमें निकम्मा बनाया ऐसे तो हम काम के हैं. So we are in love with the material things that become useless. Otherwise, we are of some worth. This Mirza Ghalib, he says this statement. So this world is making us fool. No matter whatever you are doing. If you love any things in this world, it is will become useless. Asar. But if you want really, then we need to serve Krishna. Then it has some worth. So Dharmarat iva sakshayam आश्चर्ये हिमवान् इव कुबेरा इव कोशाध्यो गुप्तार्तो वरुणो यथा. Arasvata's intelligence and education were exactly like that of Yamaraj, the superintendent of death. His opulence was comparable to the Himalayan mountains, where all valuable jewels and minerals are stocked. He possessed great riches like Kuvera, the treasure of heavenly planets, and no one could reveal his secrets. They were like the demigod Varunas. So this is how he is compared. So Yamaraj or Dharmaraj, as a superintendent of that, has to judge the criminals, living entities who had committed sinful activities throughout their life. Consequently, Yamaraj is expected to be most expert in judicial matters, and that means they are very unbiased. They're just trying to understand the facts, and based on that, they make the decision. They don't go with favoritism. That's how it is. Nowadays, it is not like that. But here, Prithu Maharaj is like that, and Yamaraj is also like that. Prithu Maharaj was also highly learned and exceedingly expert in delivering this judgment upon the citizens. No one could excel him in opulence any more than estimated the stock of minerals and jewels in Himalayas. Therefore, it is compared to Kuvera also, and then Varuna also. And his body strength and his strength of his senses, Maharaj, was so strong as a wind, which can go anywhere and everywhere. As far as intolerance was concerned, he was just like the all powerful Rudra expansion of Lord Shiva. And then it is said that his bodily beauty, he was just like Cupid, and in his thoughtfulness, he was like a lion. In his affection, he was just like Swayambhu Manu. In his ability to control, he was like Lord Brahma. And then Thus verses in his personal behavior, Prithu Maharaj exhibited all good qualities, and in spiritual knowledge, he was exactly like Brihaspati. In self control, he was like the Supreme Lord. As far as devotional service concerned, he was a great follower of devotees who were attached to cow protection and the rendering of all service to the spiritual master and Brahmanas. He was perfect in his shyness and in his gentle behavior, and when he is engaged in some philanthropic activity, he worked as if he was working for his own personal self. So if anybody want to have a son, they can have son like this with all the qualities of Prithu Maharaj, which are explained. They can pray, my dear Lord, have a son who will be having qualities of Prithu Maharaj. When Chaitanya talked to Saram Bhattacharya, the Lord honored him as the incarnation of Brihaspati. Brihaspati is chief, is the teacher, is a logician actually. And Prithu Maharaj, although a great devotee, constantly engaged in service of the Lord, could defeat all kinds of impersonal Mayavadi by his profound knowledge of Vedic scriptures. Nice point. The personality of God, it is ideal as self-control or brahmachari. One of the 108 names of Krishna is Anadi Brahmacharini. When Krishna was elected to be present Rajasuya Yajna performed by Maharaj, Bhishma praised Krishna as the greatest brahmachari. Because grandfather Bhishma was brahmachari and he was quite fit to distinguish brahmachari from a vevichari. Although Prithu Maharaj was a householder and had five children, still he was considered most controlled. And Prabhupada telling one who beget Krishna conscious children for the benefit of humanity is actually a brahmachari. One who simply begets children like cats and dogs is not a perfect, proper father. And proper right nicely. The word brahmachari also refers to one who acts on the platform of Brahman. Brahmacharati iti brahmachari. Brahman charati. So, and Vishwakshenanuvartishu refers to those devotees who are constantly engaged in the service of the Lord. Other devotees must follow in the footsteps. Narottam Das Thakur said, Yaichai Gosai Yar Moitara Das. So Prithu Maharaj is humble and meek. Throughout the whole universe in the higher, lower, and middle planet system, Prithu's reputation was loudly declared, and all the ladies and saintly persons heard his glories, which were as sweet as glories of Lord Ramachandra. So, yeah. So, we'll end here. Thank you all very much. Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.